Alexa Bliss just posted something pretty interesting and commented on it. So we'll see what that's about. We'll also check out what's new with Corey Graves, Charlotte Flair, and more, starting things off with this big situation surround Corey Graves, because this has become one of the biggest talks in the town. There's been rumblings in recent weeks that Corey Graves was not so thrilled about being bumped out of the main roster commentary booths and placed in NXT as a part of the three-man boom. He was rumored to be frustrated with the move, and Corey went public with his frustration on Twitter earlier this week, where he released a lengthy statement. Corey reflected on being a pro wrestler, that it was his biggest dream in the world. But after he no longer had medical clearance to compete, he decided to focus on commentary because it was so adjacent to his dream. Corey feels like he's established himself as a commentator and has become amazing at it, but how he is told that he was not famous enough for his own job, which sounds like Corey is referring that the company viewing Pat McAfee as being more famous than Corey craves. Therefore, Pat gets and deserves the Monday Night Raw commentary position. Even Joe Tessitore, who made WWE commentary debut last year, kept the main roster role on SmackDown. But Corey Graves, the longtime commentary veteran amongst these three names, gets placed in NXT as a part of a larger commentary team. So, seeing it through Corey's eyes, you can see the frustration, especially when you get replaced by someone like Pat McAfee, because everyone knows Pat is going to be there full-time throughout the entire year. Pat will likely stick around for the spring and a tiny bit of the summer, but once college football season starts in late summer, he's going to go away from WWE for several months. So it looks like that's what bothers Corey Graves, is that he's basically became a placeholder for Pat McAfee when Pat leaves for football season. Corey Graves likely get that Raw position back. But when football season is over, a Pat comes back, Corey has to give it up again. There's nothing Corey can do to retain that job. The second Pat is available, Corey is up out of there. So the whole circumstance there probably feels a little bit off to Corey. Obviously, no one likes to be a placeholder for someone else. That's not a good feeling in any type of situation. So, from the outside looking in, that appears to be what's up here. Corey is looking at one part-time guy like Pat that gets treated like royalty whenever he's free and available. And he's looking at Joe Tessitore, who's brand new to the job and already has a better position than him. And all of this has Corey fuming. The other big thing fans are discussing here is if we're all being worked by Corey Graves or if this is a legitimate real-life issue. The reason fans feel like it could be a work is because there was rumors a while back that Corey had quietly gained medical clearance to compete in the ring again. We also know that Pat McAfee is not a stranger to stepping in the ring and has wrestled several times for WWE. So, is this current situation all a setup for a match between Corey Graves and Pat McAfee, a big commentator showdown in the middle of the ring? A lot of fans feel like that could be what's happening, and that could be why it's all a work, but you have reports claiming that this is not a work at all. Even Corey's brother saw all the fan speculation that was happening, and he said that it was not a word, so the fans don't really know what to believe here this entire situation. Jonathan Coachman did comment on the situation, telling Corey that he should just be grateful for any commentator position in WWE because it's a very small, exclusive group of people that gets to call matches for WWE, so being a part of that group is an honor. Coachman also brought up how even Michael Cole and Jim Ross went through rough patches and were demoted at certain points of their careers before breaking through again because they never gave up. To make matters even more cryptic, right after Corey expressed all his frustrations, his follow-up post was a post talking about how everyone should tune into NXT because he has a lot to say to the fact that he was advertising, saying more, and telling fans to tune into NXT, hear more. That really made fans even believe that the whole thing was a work. But when it came time for NXT, Corey Graves was nowhere to be found, so it's a very tricky situation. If this is real, then it looks like Corey just does not feel valued and appreciated by the company. He feels like a backup that they only turn to if one of their starters is not available, and just like in any other sports context, you don't want to be the backup that barely gets any playtime and plays with other backups. You want to be the starter that gets all the playtime and is in the game with the other starters. So that's what this situation looks like right now. At the moment, they're loaded and don't need Corey Graves. But once Pat has to leave later this summer, they're gonna need Corey Graves again. So it'll be interesting to see how they can keep him happy. Until then, Alexa Bliss did something recently for the first time in many years that did not go unnoticed by fans. Alexa updated her Twitter banner to a new image that features a pink and white background as well as a star and X and a heart. And considering that a return is right around the corner, everyone is looking at everything Alexa Bliss does right now online with a magnifying glass because everyone's looking for return clues and hints. And that's what fans did here with this new banner. Before this new banner, Alexa had the same banner on her profile for many years. It was a historic banner about how she was the first superstar to win both the Raw and SmackDown women's titles. So for Alexa to remove that iconic and historic banner for this new one, that made fans really believe that this new one had to be very significant in some way if she's replacing that prior one. So fans started to break it down and wonder what the new banner meant. But Alexa herself responded to the discussion and said there was no hidden meaning behind it. She was just revamping her page for the new year. So you got that response from Alexa herself, but some fans are not fully buying it and still wondering if there's some hidden teaser in the banner. Are those symbols? Hints for Alexa's new character? Hints for her new WWE merchandise? The prior report on Alexa Bliss did say that a lot of things for Alexa were close to being finalized. So, is this banner a very early preview? Or is she telling the truth, and the detective fans are just looking too deep at something that doesn't have any significance? We'll have to wait and see, but hopefully it's not long now before Alexa Bliss returns to WWE. Speaking of long overdue returns that fans can't wait for, that brings us to Charlotte Flair. The last few weeks have been so cluttered with Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch return news that Charlotte's return was almost forgotten about and flew under the radar for a bit there. But Charlotte Flair is about to be 13 months removed from her ACL surgery. There's been no official word on if Charlotte Flair has received full medical clearance yet, but she has been posting several training videos of herself in the ring with other wrestlers, so it's safe to assume that she's cleared for physical activity. Also, considering that the average ACL recovery is 6 to 9 months, that makes it safe to assume that Charlotte Flair is fully cleared. She's just waiting on creative to bring her back into the fold. Charlotte Flair was backstage at the WWE Performance Center. She posed for pictures with Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend at the show, and fans ran wild with speculation from that photo to Kara Jackson and Lash Legend were quietly called up to SmackDown in late 2024, but they slowly vanished out of the SmackDown scene in recent months. So Kim Lash and Jakara make a return to SmackDown with Charlotte Flair leading the chart. You have your veteran and future Hall of Fame leading the way with two hungry young talents right at her side. It's definitely an interesting concept. Charlotte Flair, at this point of her career, is pretty much already a legend. The young women of NXT look up to Charlotte Flair because she's just like them. She started in a performance center, started in NXT, and look at everything she's accomplished so far. So, it does make sense that the NXT women want to hang out with Charlotte and follow her leadership, because she's one of the most successful superstars in history. She won't steer them in a bad direction. If that's what Charlotte's hinting at with this post, it'll be a lot of fun to see play out. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.